Welcome to the People Strategy Podcast. My name is Traci Austin. And in this show, we dive into the latest trends and best practices in talent management and organizational development. Join me as I chat with industry experts, HR leaders, and business innovators to uncover strategies that can elevate your people and your business. Of course, we always have huge gratitudes, and we have two today. We were just named as the number two podcast in the business management category. So we're very grateful for that. And we also want to thank Jamie Tates. Jamie was on the show actually back in 2022 chatting about bridging the gap in leadership. So, how do we ensure that we're truly bridging the gap from our line level staff into each level within the organization? And that will tie into some of our conversation here today. So today we are chatting with Matt Rasmussen. Matt is the CEO of Rolling Tides Construction. And Matt, welcome to the show.
Well, thanks for having me.
Yeah. So we have chatted several times
Mhm.
about team building, culture, some of the engagement pieces inside of organizations. And before we completely jump in, love to hear a little bit more about, what has your journey looked like to that CEO role and why?
Yeah, so we're Victoria, BC based. We have a construction company about 25 people deep. We do a bunch of public sector work, private sector, commercial. I'm a dad. I'm a try-hard athlete at heart, but aging in actual fact. But yeah, I consider myself somewhat of a involved person in the community. How I've gotten here is we've been going at this since 2012. We created a company that I think really dives into their people and gives back to them and they give back to us. And I think that's what we're here to talk about today.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, Matt, one of the things that I've noticed that I absolutely love about your brand is how you tell the stories on social media. It's like you can see whether it's Tudor House or Emerson Street or, I don't know what all of them are, but you see these projects come alive with different team members, with different, like the plans there and whatnot. I'm curious, how does that marketing strategy tie into your people strategy?
Yeah, like we really are focused on our people on our social media. So we do employee of the month, but we have our EA in here. She runs our social media. She goes there. She can see how charismatic she is on camera, how she leads you through the sites and stuff like that. And we've also had a lot of success with recruitment and retention through our social media. So we've had people that have seen us from afar and have emailed and mentioned our social media in that context, talking about how we highlight our people, and have come to work for us through that. And then we also see the retention side where people are just excited to be on camera. So it's a super fun little journey we got going on.
So, what's your favorite camera bloopers of trying to get this stuff out?
Well, I don't like when we're doing bloopers of me. That's not the greatest part, but I think Madison works with this Ukrainian guy named Stan who does all the video editing and stuff like that. And so I think one, like it's also great to let those two guys dig into their passion kind of project as they work, on the stuff maybe they don't love to do through our company, but they get some time to, do the stuff that fires them up. So yeah, it's been fun.
So, you just mentioned something that is such a strong people strategy, and it is identifying the passion of people and aligning it to a business need. So, you know what? It's fun to watch them get passionate about it and light it up. So, I'm
Totally.
curious, how do you utilize that in all areas of your business?
Well, like a funny one is we live on Shawnigan Lake. So, our core business value and goal would not be to go build docks and stuff like that. But we definitely take on projects that we find that are more fun for our guys that give them some, some creativity on the carpentry side of things that put them into places on lakes and stuff like that. So it's funny how you'll take on a certain project just to kind of give it back to your crew as a feedback piece, as like a bit of a reward. Okay, let's go do this project. It's going to be fun. You're going to get a suntan. You're going to be on the water. So we try to find those in little different avenues all over the place.
Yeah, that's absolutely awesome. And you have a very small but mighty team with 25 folks, and it definitely looks like you've got a lot of different really interesting projects going at the time, and we'll put your socials in the show notes so folks can go see
Oh,
it and
thanks. Awesome.
see, the impact of that. But how do you go about building really strong teams?
I think it comes down to listening to what your team wants. So, we'll say a lot of the times in different, meetings with our crew, like if you put your best foot forward, we'll put our best foot forward, and we really dive into what they are looking from an employer. So really it starts with them speaking and us listening and meeting their effort wherever they are. I think that's, really comes down to building a great team.
What do you mean by meeting their effort wherever they are?
Well, back to your best foot forward, right? So like if we have an apprentice who wants to, carry on their professional development and go to school, we have an indenturement program where we'll pay for your school, we'll top up your wages, we'll make sure you're taken care of. So you show us what direction you want to go, and we'll help you get there. And we don't get too tied to the fact of coming and going. Like we understand with the job that we're in that people are transient, and some people will be here for a long time, and some people won't will be here for a short time. But I think the key is if you're going to be here for 2 years, let's our get our best given to you guys for that 2-year period, or vice versa. You give us our best, your best for 2 years. So meeting their level of commitment and even trying to raise our level of commitment so they can step up to that same level of commitment for the period of time we're together is what I mean by that. Yeah.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about what you mean by that level of commitment.
Like level of commitment. So like we obviously all have a job here to do, but the level of commitment would be probably on the long-term vision of what your career path is. Like where do you see yourself going? How do we support you getting to where you want to go? Whether that's with Rolling Ties Instruction or whether that's on your own or whether that is with a different company. Like we all want to progress. We want Rolling Tides as a business to carry on and improve and get better. And coincidentally with that, like let's see you improve and get better. So I just think it's a commitment to growth and for us and for them.
And I'm curious, how does that get conveyed when you're onboarding a new employee to ensure that like, hey, we're bringing folks on that are truly committed to us and see the commitment that we have to them?
One of the things that we have done with different strategies in our business is we have a pretty good onboarding package. So we'll see when we hire people to come in and they get, like a 3 week to or sorry, a 3 month plan of how this is going to look, who you were assigned to for each kind of task of the business and like a real strategic, we see them like one impressed with what we're giving to them and the confidence we give it to them in. I think helps onboard them and it shows them the confidence and what we're doing in the background and make sure that that their role is going to be impactful and they're going to get impactfulness from our business as well. So I think I think just really being organized and showing our best foot forward is how we gain their trust.
Yeah, absolutely. And for our listeners, like I want you to really think back to some of the conversations that we've had on here in the past, specifically with Highfill, Ray Cox, how Ray talked about tours of duty with new staff coming on and ensuring that, hey, you know what, we're going to commit these 2 years for you or 4 years as you get your, professional engineering license. But here's what we expect and here's what we're willing to give. So it's this matching piece. We also had that conversation when we chatted with Midstate Concrete and how they actually lowered their turnover by 40% in the first 90 days by implementing these mentoring new hire programs. So, Matt, I love what you're doing. And it's one of those that has such an incredible impact on longevity of employees, but also your profitability.
Turnover kills you. Yeah,
Yeah,
there's no profitability in turnover. So
absolutely
I
not.
think like one of the, like even on that implementation or onboarding package, sorry, like we even assign like a peer, like you have your reportees and all that kind of stuff and the deliverables you're expected to deliver on, but we'll give you like a professional peer. So someone on a similar level of you in the office that you can lean on when you don't want to ask your reportee maybe a stupid question of whatever. We assign you kind of that peer, and we'll do it strategically on the same side of someone who is friendly, who's welcoming, who represents our company already well, and then who's also like an inspiration of someone to be like. So that's, I think, like probably a little bit of the magic in there too is not just a hierarchy, but having some unilateral kind of relationships building at the same time.
So I'm hearing you say like the magic here is actually in the relationships and having amazing working relationships with the folks that you're with most of the day. So we do our new hire buddy program and we've been implementing this with construction organizations for, I don't know, 5, 6 years now. But it's so cool seeing the eyes light up, especially when they first get in the program. And, They're like, "Wait, what is this?" And it's like, "Okay, wait, I can make an impact, and this is how you listen, and this is how you do those things." Is that something that you find as well?
Totally. Yeah.
Yeah,
No, it's definitely welcomed every single time it happens for sure.
very cool. And I don't know about your organization, but, like, the stickers that say, like, "Hey, I'm a mentor," or whatnot on the hard hats, for whatever reason, it gamifies all the things.
We don't have that. We should look into what that looks like. But we definitely have like really strong mentors within our company, and that's like probably the last, another piece of the puzzle over the last couple of years. Like we some of the leadership roles we filled, right people, right seat kind of stuff has been huge. We have a lead site super that really is investing in his people and stuff like that as well. So when that trickles down from the top, it really creates like a unified company.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, what are some of those other ways that you really build your team? So, you have the onboarding piece. What are some other facets?
I think you look for some creative ways to engage with your team as well. So, like one example is this spring and the last 3 springs, I guess, we did a fitness challenge where we hired a coach to come in. We did it, the first year I would say it was pretty office heavy, where the 5 of us were all working out together, and we had a coach that kind of determined who won. And I think like between the office we lost like, I don't know, like 70 pounds, which was pretty awesome. And it really brought us close. And then this last year we ended up hiring one of our guys' wives as a personal trainer, and we actually had like a really good involvement from the team itself, which was like the in the field team, which is a bit of a rarity, and we thought that was pretty awesome. So that was great. It really brought everyone together. Actually, one of the in the field guys won the whole challenge, which was good, but also humbling in our own fact that we're sitting behind a desk and we can't compete with a guy on a job site who can still outwork us after the fact. So that was really good.
How many pounds total was
We
lost?
I'm not exactly I think we just had such a bigger group that we didn't count it up, but I
Okay.
wanna say, like, the guy who won was running was training for a marathon.
Okay.
So, we feel like we helped inspire him to perform on his marathon or whatever. Another couple things that we do, like, we have a barbecue at one of the job sites today. We do a summer event, a winter event, and then we were just crafting the idea yesterday, but we're gonna do a little Rolling Tides Junior Builders Club. We're going to have all the kids of the people that work for Rolling Tides come in for 3 Fridays over the summer. We'll do like a little daycare, build some different projects or whatever, birdhouses and stuff like that. Do a lunch and then take them over to the field and do some sports stuff that's right down the road from us. So I think like if you can consistently lean into stuff outside of work and bring everyone together that way, like it makes a very productive job site as well.
Incredible. Like, and what I'm hearing you say is you're getting the entire families involved. It's not just about the specific employee, it's about how do we integrate these families into our organization in a meaningful way.
We want to be a place where people come to have a career. We don't want people to come here for a job. And obviously, we'll have a mix of both. But, when we involve the whole family, it definitely makes a difference on how you look at this company for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And so, will all of those fun things be on your social media that we can follow
They
along?
typically are. If you go through our social media right now, you'll see the winner of the fitness challenge, and we had a few posts as we went through there. We had a mini challenge last year where you'll see us all sitting in a cold tub together, who could sit in there long enough or whatever. And it was embarrassing how long we actually sat in there, probably to the unsafe side of things. But anyways,
It was a
boys will be
challenge, so you
boys.
were up for it?
It was a challenge, so we were up for it. So, but yeah, that specific challenge, I just couldn't believe how close it brought us all for sure. I think if you sweat with people and you're working towards positive gains, like another thing that I was pretty blown away by this year is we did a survey at the beginning of the year of what people wanted from Rolling Tides. So, it was 15 questions, and comparatively to 10 years ago, where it would be more pub lunches and a beer, it came back to personal development, the health options, mental health, options and stuff like that. Like the team we have right now is so driven by professional growth. It's just you just go like, wow, what is this? Who are writing these surveys? And then you're so proud of your team when you get those kind of results.
That's incredible. That is absolutely incredible. So I'm curious, as we're talking about, those goals, what's one of your professional bucket list items for this year?
My professional bucket list items this year. So we have kind of ventured off into the development side of things. We've created a partnership with a long-standing lead PM in our office, and we've bought some properties together. And we're developing them. And we're creating, I guess, the backside of a development sector of our business. So I think with those projects getting through DP and BP stage and them actually, going to come to fruition, I think my professional goal is just to sink into that relationship and really define roles and see where that avenue of the business is going to take us, define their strategic vision, 3 years, 10 years, and then continue putting that into place.
Incredible. What's a personal bucket list item for you?
A personal bucket list item. Well, I think I got a book from somebody about bucket lists
You did.
things from a certain meeting, but a personal bucket list item would be to go to Portugal, which I believe is going to happen next May for my 40th birthday.
Incredible. And I love asking the personal and the professional bucket list items because so often we can intertwine what they are, especially when we ask those questions with staff. So like your professional bucket list had to do with something that a team member wanted to develop them. And, what we find is when we can figure out where they want to go, it is much more likely for us to go, oh, well, we have that business need. Let's put them on that because now they're engaged in it. And, how do we tie the personal and the professional bucket list items together? And a lot of times there's a great way to do that.
Totally.
And so you talk about really giving back and being, a key part of the community. How do you go about doing that with your team and with your community in general?
We run ALS Ice Bucket Challenge charity yearly. Unfortunately, my mom was diagnosed in 2022, so that kind of inspired us to get off our hands and do something about these kind of things. So what that means on a community level is we take an ALS bus and we drive from business to business, and we have those businesses do the Ice Bucket Challenge, and then they nominate businesses in their network. So we kind of, first we relied on our network of people, and then to keep the challenge going and continue to raise money, we were able to go through them, and now they branch off to 2 or 3 different businesses that we can go to. So that's at it like that, obviously helping out ALS and raising money is a great thing, but the community side of that and just, you know, meeting new people and working towards like such a positive goal obviously brings you together and creates like little fun relationships throughout town. So that's like one of our big impacts on the community, I would say. Alternatively to that, probably on the personal side, like I'm the president of a football league in town here. So that gets you out and about, play tons of sports, which obviously there's lots of different community aspects to that, coaching my kids' sports and stuff like that. So we just try to be involved, try to give back where we can and do the right thing. So yeah, that's how we do it.
And what are you most proud of about your team?
What am I most proud of about my team? I think the growth. I think the growth in the last, like, we have done excessive amount of coaching and stuff like that. We really put, again, people in the right seats and putting systems in place. And I think, I don't know if it's the buy-in is the right word, but I think the collaborative effort from the entire team to drive towards the one goal. I look at our company, and 5 years ago, like we had one vision, and the only person that knew that vision was myself. Where now, like, we share that vision, and everyone's driving towards that same end goal, which I think is like there's a lot of unified efforts towards those things, and a lot of success from sharing that vision. So I think, yeah, that's what I'm probably most proud of is just how far we've come.
Any last thoughts that you have for our listeners today?
Well, it's great to spend some time with you on here, and I appreciate you having me on, and I hope we can do it again sometime.
Yeah, absolutely. And for our listeners, thank you so much for listening in to this episode. And we would love that 5-star review. And if you have leaders that, are looking for that next level of integration and training and coaching to elevate themselves, we have a leadership development program that is virtual that is starting the end of July. So we hope to have you join us there. And you can find all of Matt's information and the social media along with information on our leadership development program in the show notes. Thanks so much. Thank you so much for listening today. I'd love to connect with you. If you'd like to connect, you can find me on LinkedIn at Traci, Traci Austin, and at our website at elevatedtalentconsulting.com. If you'd love to learn more about our process, please reach out to us. And again, thank you so much for listening and sharing your feedback with us through a review. Have a fantastic day.